An armed citizen stopping for breakfast at his favorite donut shop observes a robbery in progress. A decision must be made. What would you do? Stop the Threat starts now. Hello and welcome to Stop the Threat. My name is James Towle. On this week's episode, our guest will be Rob Pincus, Managing Editor of the Personal Defense Network and founder of School Attacker Response Course, which we're going to hear a lot more about in just 1 minute. Kelly Muir. She's been involved in martial arts since she was 9 years old, and she is the owner of Team Karate Center, Columbus. Steve Vandermolen. He is the manager of Thunder Shooters Club, one of my favorite places to go, by the way. But before we get started, thank you all for being here, okay? I do want to say something to the viewers. I want you to know, for those of you who are just tuning in, maybe for the first or second time, that we go around the country and we select different crime scenes that take place which involve a legal gun owner. And when that tipping point comes along and they're making a decision of, shall I get involved and draw my weapon, or shall I retreat and be the best witness law enforcement has, which in many cases is the best way to go. But what I'm trying to express to you is that these are real. So some of the reenactments are a little more difficult to do than others, and well, you'll see as they come up. But they are real to as much information as we can find. And the goal is to place you in that position and let you make the decision on what you should do, and then we'll comment on it. But before we go to the reenactments, I want to go back and I want to talk to Rob, because I'm really interested in the School Attacker Response Course.
School Attacker Response Course was a response to teachers, children, and especially parents asking me and the other instructors at LC.E.Training company what advice we had for them in the situations of an armed attacker, whether it's a firearm or a knife or someone doing anything to try to hurt children inside of a school area. What can we give those people as far as tips, techniques, and tactics really to try to survive or escape those situations?
Is anyone else doing this?
There are other programs. There's the Alert facility in Texas does a lot of work like this. The ALICE program is popular nationwide. But we have obviously a large network of instructors and students who came to us. And what we did was we drew from our executive protection programs. We drew from our active shooter programs. We drew from our home defense programs. And we took the pieces that are most applicable to the person in the school, or maybe they're in the mall, or maybe they're in a hospital. Any of these victim zones, these so-called gun-free zones where predators can go to try to find victims, and we gave them some ideas about how to escape or how to survive, or even how to stop that threat in the middle of those attacks.
Okay, you know what, I got a feeling there's going to be a book on this.
There's probably going to be a DVD at least very soon.
A DVD?
Yeah.
And maybe a book as well. I've got a little time though, Kelly. Give me some information about what you're doing.
I'm the owner of Team Karate Center Columbus. I have been a lifetime martial artist, and the information that I teach as it pertains to what we're doing specifically would address areas of awareness, situational awareness in particular, and helping people understand, whether I'm working with children or whether I'm working with teens, or in this case, we're addressing an adult audience. What decisions do you make in the heat of the moment that can really help make the difference between life and death?
Okay. Steve, when I come back from the break, we're going to ask a little bit about what's going on out there at Thunder Club. Okay? When we come back, we'll hear from Steve. Welcome back to Stop the Threat. We're talking to Steve Vandermolen about the club, Thunder Club, in fact, that he is the manager of. Steve, tell us a little bit about it.
James, we started it about 2 years ago in response to the total lack of ability for people to come out to a range and practice defensive skills. They can stand, shoot a stationary target at a known distance. They can't draw from a holster, and most ranges are that way. We wanted to create an environment where people could come out who had a desire to learn but didn't yet have the desire to go to one of the major schools. and come out and learn those skills and learn them in small bite-sized pieces where they can come out and practice the skill, and then they decide when they go on to learn the next piece.
Okay, so this is a weekly class or a one-time, and then you move up to phase 2 and phase 3. Help me with that.
Right now we're running about 20 classes a month.
Oh, 20.
And so we keep continuous opportunities out there for people to learn, practice, and then learn again.
So you can come in not knowing a thing about handguns or shooting, and they can take a beginner's course.
Absolutely.
And they can work their way up to, and I think we mentioned off camera that you were talking about 3-gun events.
We have competitive events that we've tailored around the same philosophy, which allows people to come in a fairly non-competitive environment and practice those skills under the stress of time and people watching and all of those things that you can't get any other way.
Right. Well, you know, we've been out there. We've done a lot of filming out there, and I think it's probably one of the nicest clubs we've ever been to.
Thank you,
but let's talk about the reenactment, because that's why we're here today. I'm going to show you a reenactment that took place in California. This will place any of us, and especially you out there. This could happen almost any time that you go into an area, for lunch, to have a sandwich. Let's watch part 1, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Hi, how can I help you?
Can I get a kolache?
Yeah, anything else?
And 2 of those.
Okay. Hi, can I help you? $6.78.
Give me all the money in the register. And be nice and quiet. You won't get hurt. Don't even think about yelling. Just give me the money.
Okay, my guess is that, hey, you're out there having a sandwich someplace and you get up to leave. You are a legal gun owner. He looks over his shoulder. I don't know that he actually detected anything from the bad guy as much as he might have seen something on the face of the cashier. That's my guess at this point anyway. What do you think?
Looks like exactly what happened. I think we'll have to see it play out before we know more, but that's what it appeared to me as well.
Okay, Rob?
Yeah, this is where a lot of people talk about, well, there's bystanders and there's this and there's that, and what are you going to do in a crowded area? What I always tell people is that the behavior of the people in that room, especially for like responding law enforcement into a room where someone is a bad guy, usually the people around the bad guy are focused on them or running away, and you can tell instantly something's wrong just by looking around, and that's probably what this guy's picked up on.
Kelly, should he be walking out the door, or should he be turning as though he's wanting to learn something more about what's taking place?
Absolutely, and what I like about what I'm seeing so far is that there is obviously something wrong. Now, he may not know what it is, and he may not even know for sure that there is something wrong, but there is something in him that's making him pause, and that is just the intuition, the intuitive factor of there's something going on, and a lot of folks don't address that. So I think it's an interesting place to stop the scenario.
Okay, so then I would ask you this. He senses something is going on. He senses there is a problem at the cashier. Should his next move be to move outside, pick up the phone, call 911, and wait for law enforcement? Should that be the move?
That would be the safest move at this point. The other one might be to just sit back down and just kind of observe what's going on at this, because like Kelly said,
sitting back down.
Yeah.
You can sit back down and still not draw your weapon. Just be aware of what's taking place. I'm okay with that part. Of course, I don't know if the bad guy has a gun
or a knife at this point.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
that might make me a little concerned about, okay, am I going to have to return fire if I stay? What do you think, Rob?
Now it becomes, that kind of moral, personal question. Do I leave? Do I sit back down? Or maybe do I maneuver? I'm going to go up and get a napkin from the counter and maneuver where now not only can I see what's going on, but it also puts me at a better angle. If I do have to shoot, I don't have that cashier standing behind the bad guy.
Okay. Kelly?
I'm leaning more to where Rob is right now. By maneuvering physically in the situation and putting himself there, he's also now interrupted whatever intention the guy has. I mean, now the bad guy has to deal with the fact that he's standing there as well. So it's a very non-confrontational way of interrupting the moment.
Okay, all right. I'm happy with those. I'm also happy with the idea of I am sensing a problem and I'm moving outside because I just feel like I have better space between me and the bad guy with whatever he has. And when we come back, we'll talk more about it. Welcome back. We've seen part one of the reenactment, and we've had some comments. Now, I want to go back to Steve on this because I'm still thinking that had that situation occurred, not knowing what the bad guy has for, or whether he's just threatening her, or whether it's a boyfriend and they're just getting in an argument. And I do like the idea of, well, if I'm not sure and I feel some responsibility, then I might go back in and just sit down.
Just sit down. The other thing that would concern me is escalating the situation. If that guy at the counter, chances are he's just going to take the money and leave. And if he perceived that somebody was viewing him and somebody was onto what he was doing, it could escalate the situation or it could panic him. And I'd want to stay as far away until I knew something was going on. I'd want to stay in a good observation position rather than getting close enough to in any way escalate the situation or cause him to do something that he didn't really intend to do when he came in.
Okay, I like that because I'm pretty certain that when the bad guy walked in, he saw him there eating. He chose to go forward with his action at the counter, knowing that there is someone there. That to me was a little risky, but he was being how it appears as though he was doing this even despite the fact that there was someone there.
I think it's a very, very difficult situation, which is why we're all sitting here evaluating it. If you sit down and you just observe, there's always the potential that it's going to go horribly wrong instantly, and you're sitting down. If you don't know the mindset of the individual that's up there, if you can get up and not interrupt, not make a fuss, but like Rob mentioned, just getting up and getting a napkin, it puts a little bit of an unexpected moment into the situation, and that's certainly going to tell you where the guy's at mentally, and then you're going to know what his intentions are.
You know, Rob, as a legal gun owner as we are, we do go into a restaurant or something similar, and we probably by habit look around and kind of get a feel for what's good, what's bad, I think we do that almost naturally, but we really don't have any idea whether there is a security camera on. We really don't know what weapon he's holding. We don't know if it's just a boyfriend, girlfriend in an argument. And that's why I kind of like Steve's idea. If you feel like you need to know more, then you can maneuver, as you said, and get a napkin, decide that, hey, it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, or the guy's got a knife, and at that point, now you're definitely committed, right? Or you just sit back down and you wait because you don't know if there's a security camera going. You don't know if somebody's going to come out of the back with a gun who may be part of the establishment. The best way to solve this is to see part two, and then we'll see what happens.
Just give me the money. Now. Now.
Hey, don't do anything stupid.
Don't shoot.
Are you okay? Call the police.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't even know where to begin here. So many things were right. What did you find wrong?
It's hard to say that anything's wrong once you cross the line of getting involved, right? And that's always the hard part. And one of the things, even going back to what we were talking about before, that I think is very hard for us to do, whether you're thinking about doing something to interrupt or doing nothing to interrupt, we can't predict what the bad guy is going to do. We don't. He's a bad guy. He's irrational. He's already doing something wrong. Once you're doing something wrong and you're already erratically behaving in a way that brings violence into the situation, all we can do is be responsible for our own actions. And I think his actions were reasonable. As someone who wanted to get involved, he did the right things.
Should we let him go?
That's the one thing that I feel could have been handled differently. It would have been great to have him sit down and let the police come and handle the situation. Having him leave, now you're dealing with him outside. I mean, who knows where the guy is going to go? You have to leave the store. This guy's out there somewhere. I would have been more comfortable knowing that the police had him in custody.
What do you think, Steve?
I agree with Kelly because the other piece of this is how many friends does he have outside? He could have 5 or 6 people outside. I do like the fact that the guy locked the door and that at least secured that location at that time.
Perfect. I
That
like
was
that.
great.
Right.
But I think Kelly's absolutely right. Is you don't know who's outside. Now you're locked inside this place until the police arrive, and okay, that's okay. But you are going to have to leave sometime.
Right. Obviously, we're looking at something that did take place. This was the manner in which it did take place, and now we're second guessing it. From my point of view, I have to say that if you are going to hold someone until law enforcement arrives at gunpoint, it's a little risky, okay? I mean, you're sitting there, you've got the gun out, the door's locked, and he has time now to think about, I don't want to go to jail, what can I do? I'm just not sure whether it's just okay, let him go, he's out the door, everybody's seen him, we have a good description, maybe you picked up a license plate number when he drove off, I mean, that's even better, and you're a good witness for law enforcement.
And he may be on camera.
And he may be on camera. You know, yes, I think there is some concern about maybe he's got buddies out in the parking lot. You know, I think there is some concern there, but I'm more worried that this close quarter thing with me holding a gun on him and law enforcement is involved in many things, and maybe they're not going to get there for a while, you know, so that's what I think.
Yeah, being safe is the #1 thing, right? So we could say that the gentleman with the gun this time could have left and been safe, but he felt compelled to be involved. He got himself and the cashier and anybody else in that building as safe as possible, and don't forget, the guy dropped the knife. It's not like the guy ran into the parking lot getting ready to slash people in the parking lot. The knife was there, the guy ran away, people are safe, at least for the moment. I think it's a win.
And when we come back, we'll talk more about it. Welcome back. We've seen the reenactment. We've commented on the reenactment. I think there is still something else that we can discuss with the reenactment. You're inside. A young man comes in. He has a hoodie on. Is this an automatic alert to us as legal gun owners? That's just a question I just want to put that on the table. Is that kind of like a natural response? We go, okay, he's got a hoodie. Should I be paying attention to him?
I'll jump in on that. As the mother of teenagers, I live in the world of hoodies. So, no. For some people it might be, but for many folks, you know, right now, having someone walk in with a hoodie on is really not going to, for me, it's certainly not going to draw any extra attention. If they had behavior that was questionable that went with the hoodie, or if the hoodie was pulled down over their face, or if their hands were in their pockets, or if there was something that indicated concern from me, then yes. But the hoodie itself, I wouldn't even notice.
So your kids wear the hoodie inside a building, inside a...
Well, you're
they don't think to take it down when they step in. I guess maybe I'm old school. I'm like an old cowboy. We take our hat off when we walk in someplace. They don't do that with the hoodie part.
I think if you're walking into a restaurant to sit down for dinner, you're going to take your hoodie off. You're walking in to get a cup of coffee, grab a soda, it's going to take you a few seconds to...
And you may not.
Well, I think it's dangerous practice to say, be concerned of anybody wearing a hoodie.
Okay, but don't we look at people and look at the way they dress, though? Don't we, as legal gun owners, don't we look at people and start to profile people, even though we may not do it consciously?
Well, we do. I think it probably depends on where you're spending your time. If you're spending your time around teenagers and you're used to the baggy clothes and the hoodies and this and that, that's great. If you're spending your time in you know, nice restaurants and you've got classy guys wearing ties and cufflinks, you probably would notice somebody standing out. Fact is, you might be the suspicious guy in some neighborhoods.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, Steve. What do you think?
It's more behavior-based. I mean, the hoodie is not in itself an indicator of anything, except they're wearing a hoodie. I think you'd look at things like, is it appropriate for the temperature? Is it appropriate for where they are in the day?
Okay.
I think if it was open-hooded versus crimped down really tight on a pair of dark sunglasses, that would change my awareness level. But just a hoodie, I don't think would lead to anything at all.
Okay, anything else on that?
No, I agree with that. Like you mentioned, the temperature. I also live in the Midwest during the wintertime.
Probably,
anyway,
yeah,
freezing,
okay,
absolutely.
yeah, they probably are still wearing them. I don't know. I think personally, if someone walked into a restaurant and had the hoodie up, I think I'm automatically going to come alert to the fact that that person has a hoodie, those people don't. You know, so I'm drawing differences in my mind. And I don't know why. I just think that legal gun owners do this profiling subconsciously. And, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think so.
It's the behavior that goes with anything. You could walk in wearing a suit, but if your behavior is questionable, you're going to raise my awareness. And that is, as an instructor, that is where I would really push people. Pay attention to behavior. Be alert for questionable behavior of any kind. But what I will say that I loved about this scenario is that once the gentleman in the scenario put himself on alert, he was very calm and he didn't move quickly, and that was something that I think is incredibly noteworthy.
Okay, all right.
He did no posturing. He did nothing to escalate the situation. He just made a very clear statement.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Viewers, I know that you probably have some opinions on this. Contact me. I want to hear your opinions. Contact me and tell me if you think there is something in your area that we might be able to reenact, which we can all learn from. And I'll leave you with a couple of thoughts. The gunfight that you get in is probably the one you're going to regret later. Be safe, be trained, be alert.